to another episode of Talkin Shit. Episode 73, man. We got some new shit. We got some new shit today. A lot of crazy shit been going on. And I'm gonna let y'all conspirators. I'm gonna let the conspirators have the big crack at that. But anyway, y'all know who it is. I know I ain't saying, man. PG the Hustler, man, talking shit. I'm gonna let the conspirators run with this shit. Tell you why they talking about these aliens. They done got y'all's white daddy. Let me take a swig of my shit. Hit my TT. They done got y'all's white daddy. All y'all motherfuckers that was sitting there riding this nigga coattails and y'all was on his nuts, man, talking about he ain't did nothing, and you know y'all know who y'all is. Just all y'all people, all y'all Trump supporters and stuff that was on that believed all the lies. I'm gonna just put it at that, and that's it. Like, and before you get to turning your nose up at me, man, I don't got no side, man. I don't like neither one of none of that. You know what I'm saying? So with the political stuff, y'all can miss me with that, with the sides. I just don't like shit he be doing and shit he put us in and shit he got going on, man. You know what I'm saying? So like the predicament he put us in, man. So anyway, let's, without further ado, man, let's roll this shit, man. I'm gonna get into it, man. I'm gonna get into this shit. It might be a little bit long, but we definitely gonna get into this shit. Bear with me. I want y'all to hear all of this shit.
Well, good morning and welcome to CBS News Mornings. It is 7 o'clock here in New York City. I'm Anne-Marie Green, and we begin with another historic indictment against former President Donald Trump. For the third time in recent months, a grand jury has indicted him on criminal charges. The 45-page indictment was unsealed last night. Trump is now facing charges for allegedly trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election in the run-up to the violent insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. It is the second time Trump has been hit with a federal indictment, the other related to his handling of classified documents, which was filed on June 9th. Now, the new charges include 4 felonies: conspiracy to defraud the U.S., conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. Now, we have team coverage of this story for you with congressional correspondent Scott McFarland standing by in Washington. Of course, legal contributor Rebecca Roife is on Long Island for us. But first, we are going to begin with an overview from Astrid Martinez just outside of Trump Tower.
Former President Donald Trump has been asked to appear in a Washington, D.C. federal court Thursday after a grand jury indicted him on 4 charges, all related to alleged efforts to hold on to power after he lost the 2020 presidential election.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies.
The former president has repeatedly denied wrongdoing and is accusing special counsel Jack Smith of trying to interfere with the 2024 election.
This is an attack on free speech and political advocacy.
Sources tell CBS News that Trump is at his New Jersey golf club and that he is mapping out a strategy with his legal team to shift blame to lawyers that advised him after the 2020 election.
If the attorney is suggesting you go out and violate a criminal law, that's not a defense.
The 45-page charging document mentions 6 unnamed co-conspirators who had been enlisted to assist Trump in alleged efforts to retain power. A lawyer for conservative attorney John Eastman, who advised Trump at the time, said in a statement that the indictment, quote, relies on misleading presentation of the record, and adds if Dr. Eastman is indicted, he will go to trial. Trump's former vice president turned 2024 rival Mike Pence gave testimony before the grand jury. He said in a statement, the indictment serves as an important reminder. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is sky.
I gotta agree with my old Mikey there. He right. But was right there with him, so I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Shit crazy.
So joining us now to break down more on this new indictment is congressional correspondent Scott McFarland. Scott, thanks for joining us this morning. So for many people, this is going to be dizzying. There are multiple court cases. Now we have 2 federal indictments, but on the same topic as another possible indictment possibly coming up in Georgia. So I want to break this one down. How does this 3rd indictment differ from the hush money and the classified documents cases?
And this new case, Anne-Marie, is one of a kind. It is unprecedented in so many ways, but let me start by the similarities between this case and the one filed in Florida. The word conspiracy is used in both. The word obstruction is used in both. In both the Florida case involving classified records, in this case newly filed in Washington, D.C., the former president's accused of conspiring with others, and in this case to obstruct the official proceeding, to obstruct the January 6th electoral count. Everything else about this bears little resemblance to other cases filed in American history. What they're saying here is that the former president knowingly spread election lies to block the Congress from counting the electoral votes, and of knowingly pressuring local election officials in 7 targeted states that were won by Joe Biden to overturn election results. There isn't a piece of connective tissue between this case, Anne-Marie, and the 1,000-plus other January 6 riot cases filed so far. The former president and hundreds of those riot defendants are all accused of obstructing an official proceeding, that January 6th count. So he'll walk into a courthouse, Anne-Marie, tomorrow, side by side, metaphorically, with other January 6 defendants who were at the Capitol. They've argued in his name, and they believed at his direction. He's now in the same courthouse, likely to face the same system of booking and potentially face the same judge.
So, speaking of that one charge, obstructing an official proceeding, yes, other January 6th participants, if you will, were facing a similar charge. I'm wondering if it is a much more serious charge when it comes to the former president, when you consider what was in the indictment and kind of the layers of evidence that they have pointing in that direction.
It's a felony, and there have been January 6 defendants who've been sent to prison on that charge for pleading guilty to it or being convicted of it. That's one note. There is a difference here, though, that you're alluding to. Not only is he charged with obstruction of an official proceeding, a charge that 310 different January 6 defendants have faced, he's also charged with conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, presumably a higher-level accusation that only a few dozen January 6 defendants have faced. So he is getting hit twice on this obstruction of an official proceeding. But conspiracy is an important word here. It's a relatively common word in federal prosecutions. They're often prosecuting conspiracies in the federal system. But it speaks to who else was he conspiring with? This indictment makes allusion to 6 unnamed, uncharged co-conspirators. And sources close to the investigation indicate those unnamed, uncharged co-conspirators could include the attorney Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and John Eastman, who we just heard about, somebody who's accused of drafting that memo for then Vice President Mike Pence to block the electoral count January 6th. We heard the comment from Eastman's attorney who says there was no wrongdoing, and he is declining to announce any efforts toward or interest in pleading guilty or cooperating. That's where this case is going, though. There are unnamed co-conspirators, which leaves big questions out there as Donald Trump walks into a court tomorrow as the first, and for now, only named defendant in this case.
So speaking of the unsealed indictment, there was an awful lot of information in there. And at the risk of sounding like a book review, I found it to be easy reading, if you will. Not a lot of legalese, easy to understand. What stood out to you about this indictment?
This has so often been called the January 6th investigation, Anne-Marie, Jack Smith's January 6th probe. And there's actually precious little reference to January 6th and the Capitol siege itself. It's actually near the bottom of this charging document. Most of this is about the so-called fake electors, pressure campaigns on the Justice Department and local election officials. You get down near the bottom, and they make reference to January 6th in this indictment, and they allege in a unique and interesting way, Anne-Marie. They allege Donald Trump exploited January 6th, the riot, the violence, the interruption of the proceedings, and used that window of opportunity to call members of Congress and seek more delays, to seek to obstruct more of the proceedings, again, based on baseless election fraud claims, almost as if it was a tool of Donald Trump. He's not accused of inciting or organizing. He's accused of exploiting the attack.
Scott McFarland, thank you. So Donald Trump's campaign responded to the indictment yesterday, saying that the Justice Department is trying to interfere with the 2024 presidential election by indicting him again. His legal team has also said Trump was only following the advice of his lawyers at the time. Well, yesterday, Special Counsel Jack Smith said his office is seeking a speedy trial in the January 6th probe and that the investigation into other individuals is continuing. So for more on the legal ramifications of this newest indictment, let's bring in legal contributor Rebecca Roife. Really good to see you, Rebecca. Let's start with the charges that the former president is facing, the 4 felonies listed. Which do you believe are the ones that will be the biggest problem for former President Trump?
Well, Anne-Marie, thanks for having me this morning. It's nice to see you as well. It depends a little bit on what you mean by problem. So in terms of potential sentences, the charge that you were just discussing with Scott, the conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, comes with a potential sentence of up to 20 years. So that's the most severe charge in that meaning of the term. But I think the other 2 charges, the conspiracy to defraud the United States, which is essentially a charge about the former president lying in order to overturn the results of the election over a period of a month, and the civil rights charge accusing him of depriving the American people of the right to vote and have that vote counted, are in some ways the charges that allow the indictment and potentially the trial to have that narrative, easy to read effect that you were describing before, because what it really does, those 2 counts, is tell a story about a longer effort to use lies to attempt to do something stunning to our democracy, which is overturn the legitimate results to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
So it is interesting. There are 6 unnamed co-conspirators included in this indictment. They haven't been charged, but the special counsel made a point of saying yesterday at the media briefing that the investigation is ongoing. The former president, in his response, and he said this before, but he said it again, says that he was just listening to his lawyer's advice. Is that a defense?
That's a setup
for these sorts of crimes?
They're setting that shit up.
Well, it is certainly a defense. Whether it's a successful defense is another question, because, essentially think about it like this. Look, imagine that you suddenly came into a ton of money. You won the lottery or something like that. You go to your lawyer, you go to your accountant, you say, I don't want to pay taxes on this. And they tell you, well, we can do some things to minimize the taxes, but you're going to have to pay taxes on this. And you keep shopping around and you go to another reputable tax attorney, and you go to another reputable accountant, and they keep telling you, no, you're going to have to pay taxes, till you find somebody who says, you know what, I'll help you avoid taxes on this. That last lawyer is assisting you in the crime. They are not working as an effective defense under those circumstances. And that's exactly what happened here, which was, and this is a powerful part of the indictment.
Remember, he was replacing and firing
of the Republican lawyers and staff members whom Trump himself appointed and were in many cases confirmed. And those people continuously told him, including his own vice president, this is not what happened. The election was not stolen. And there's no evidence of this massive fraud. And he kept shopping around until he found those lawyers, which, I think during the January 6th investigation, somebody called them a clown car. So he finally found people who would support this theory and help him commit this crime. That is not, in my mind, an effective defense, though it will be something he tries to use as a defense throughout this, both publicly and in court.
So, as we know, this is not the only court battle that this former president is facing. There's another federal indictment that has to do with the classified documents. The investigation in Georgia that kind of overlaps with this one, having to do with attempts to overturn the 2020 election. A lot of the same evidence is going to be used. That is pending. The expectation is there'll be an indictment there. I'm wondering, though, when something like that happens, we're looking at a possible legal traffic jam. Would this particular indictment take priority? Would that be something judges consider when scheduling any future court cases?
Not really. In a certain way, it proceeds first come, first serve. So the first indictment, at least the first federal indictment, is the Mar-a-Lago's documents case. So one would normally think that that case would probably proceed first, and the Manhattan case maybe even before that, and then the other cases will, in some ways make their scheduling around those cases. However, that said, different judges proceed at different rates, and so this is all dependent on how the judges proceed. Of course, we had that superseding indictment in the Mar-a-Lago case, so that might stall things down in Florida, allowing this case to go first, but really remains to be seen.
All right. Rebecca Roiphe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So meanwhile, some of the 2024 Republican presidential candidates are reacting to former President Donald Trump's indictment related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Former Vice President Mike Pence had harsh words for his former boss. In a statement, Pence said that the latest indictment, quote, serves as an important reminder anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States.
That was your nigga, though.
Trump's biggest Republican rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, reacted to the news by slamming the indictment. DeSantis tweeted, "As president, I will end the weaponization of government, replace the FBI director, and ensure a single standard of justice for all Americans." And GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy responded by announcing that he is suing the DOJ and filing a Freedom of Information Act request for more info on Trump's indictment. He released a statement saying that his aim for the lawsuit is to, quote, finally deliver accountability and transparency.
Man, these motherfuckers is funny as hell. All them same people. Oh yeah, I'm finna drag. No, I ain't finna drag her. I don't do no shit like that. But I'm finna speak my mind. I'm finna talk some motherfucking shit. Anyway, y'all done heard enough about Trump, man. Y'all motherfucking white daddy going down. You know what I'm saying? Y'all liked him. Y'all loved him. Y'all stood by him. Stand by him now. Because he damn sure wasn't standing by the rest of the motherfuckers during January 6th. And I'm going to let the conspirators have this. This is the reason why I say I'm going to let the conspirators have this, because it's a lot of other shit going on. Just remember that these documents that they found at Mar-a-Lago is all in connection to all of this shit, man. Your boy that y'all was so quick to jump behind and get on the bandwagon with, man, that dude was getting ready to sell us all the way out, man. You know what I'm saying? To all other, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't selling us out to Putin, man, to your boy. So, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna let the conspirators have that shit, man. You already know, man. Tap in with me, man. Anyway, let's go to this fat, nasty, stinking heifer. I can't believe she done did the shit that she... Listen to this shit, man. Y'all just listen to this bullshit, man. This heifer is all the way out of control, man. Like, on some real shit, man. Peep this bullshit.
Are often accompanied by messages of body positivity.
Watch out for the big girls.
While promoting her Emmy-winning reality show, Watch Out for the Big Girls, Lizzo told Today she was looking for dancers who matched that message.
I finally had the platform to do an open call audition for girls who look like me.
But in a new lawsuit filed by 3 former dancers, Lizzo was accused of weight shaming. One of the dancers, Ariana Davis, says Lizzo called attention to her weight gain with thinly veiled concerns, though she never explicitly stated it.
I just had this feeling that they had a problem with the way I was gaining weight.
Davis filed the suit with Crystal Williams and Noel Rodriguez. They allege that at an after party at a strip club in Amsterdam, where sexually explicit acts were taking place on stage, Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the performers.
I briefly touched the performer. I was very mortified. Everyone burst into laughter.
It's something Davis says she didn't want to do, but felt pressured to do.
I did not ask for it. I said no multiple times.
According to the suit, the dancers also allege Lizzo falsely accused them of drinking alcohol before shows, and because of that, they were forced to audition for their jobs again.
She would pick and choose when she wanted to be professional and when she wanted things to be personal.
Both Williams and Davis say they were fired this past spring, while Rodriguez resigned. In an interview, Davis also describing an interaction with Lizzo.
She proceeded to say, you know, dancers get fired for gaining weight. You should basically be grateful to be here.
The trio is also suing Lizzo's production company and her dance captain, Shirlene Quigley, accusing her of forcing her religious beliefs on them. Lizzo has not commented on the suit, a champion of positivity on stage, now accused of enabling a toxic work environment behind the curtain.
You go from preaching about sisterhood to then turning around and saying that it's a privilege that you know us by name.
Efforts by NBC News to reach Lizzo's production company were unsuccessful, and her dance captain, Shirlene Quigley, has not responded to our request for comment. We also want to point out not every claim in the lawsuit was brought against every defendant.
I mean, Lizzo's got such an online presence, Joe. What's been the reaction there? What are folks saying on the...
So after Lizzo posted to Instagram yesterday without referencing the controversy at all, many fans did react with dismay in the comments. Some other former employees, including her ex-creative director, have weighed in supporting the former dancers and suggesting they witnessed and experienced similar treatment. Wow. Some online are also pointing out, by the way, that Beyonce at her concert last night left Lizzo's name out of a lyric that usually lists her along with other artists. Lots of speculation right now as fans react to the news.
They finna drop. They finna drop some shit.
All right, Joe.
It's about to be nuts. Hey, they about to be, man. Listen, I'm just that shit right there just go to show you that y'all that little sisterhood shit, man. Y'all that people be on, man. You just watch, man. Everybody really be out for their own personal gain, man. And it's sad that it be going through that, man. And y'all really think y'all have a friend or got somebody that's really preaching that positivity to y'all. And then this type of shit happen. Like people that know her personally, people that work with her personally, is sitting up here saying all kind of like, not saying crazy stuff, but they just sitting up here and they telling it all like they just basically spilling the whole. You know what I'm saying? The whole pot of beans about how this person really is and what they be on. So, I mean, this is some behind the scenes shit, man. Stop believing everything you see online and people's persona that they showing you online. That shit ain't real. That shit ain't real. This heifer really out here fat shaming people, and she fat as hell herself. And she supposed to be positivity. And then just forcing people to do crazy shit, like, man, that's on some lightweight bully shit. When people get that bag and they get that big ass head, they get that little bully syndrome. They get that little half-ass, you know what I'm saying, passive aggressive bully type shit. Like, people ain't want to be touching on them motherfuckers, man. And it's some other shit too that they ain't even saying. I don't know if it's other stuff, because I had actually researched this before production put this on here. It was some other incidents with her there too at that same shit in Amsterdam where she made her security guard, which is a dude, she made that nigga strip on stage. Like on stage. Like people get this power, man. They think that ain't no way, bitch. I'd have been fired. You'd have been an unsecured bitch that motherfucking night. I'd have walked off the motherfucking job, bitch. I'm not taking my clothes off of no motherfucking body in this motherfucking bitch in a whole public setting, bitch. No way. A concert? No. A whole event? No, bitch. You something wrong with you. You must be on that motherfucking shit. I don't know, man. Y'all know how Hollywood is, man. But when motherfuckers get that bag or they get that little bit, they get that big head, they think they can do whatever they want to do, man. And that shit wrong as fuck. But I'm glad somebody, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad somebody's speaking up, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because motherfuckers shouldn't be treated like that. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. Anyway, man, moving on, man. You already know I fuck with Jess, man, real tough, man. I like Jess. And I heard a little bit about, I know a little bit about this situation, but we're gonna run through this shit. This shit nuts. This shit crazy. Nuts, no pun intended. Just definitely. Yo, just check this shit out, man, because I'm not gonna move this
morning show.
Now, Gary brought up a subject when he did
Shout out
the
to my
today,
nigga
and
Ricky
the
Spotty,
subject
man.
was so
That nigga
heavy.
Ricky Spotty,
We tried to
dog.
move on to another subject, but we kept personally having a debate in the studio about this, and this seemed more interesting than the other topic, so we can do the other topic tomorrow about marriage. Now, Gary, what sparked this conversation?
Okay, what sparked it was comedian Jess Hilarious. Now, they say that she went viral because she was defending real women, saying that trans women, honey, have mental issues. Now, they said she posted this here because, you know, a trans woman, you know, went on and talked about, you know, they're saying things about real women, so to speak, or whatever. I'm trying to get to the point, you know, where it started off there. But nevertheless, it's a big debate, honey, and people are upset about it. Some people are calling for Jess Hilarious cancellation. They're saying that, you know, with her calling transgender women delusional, they're saying that was a bold statement. And we got, I think, do we have what the trans woman said? Because we didn't play her part. Let's play what she said, and then we'll go to playing what Jess Hilarious said.
I mean, when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello.
Who in the fuck do it belong to then?
Can a trans man have a menstrual cycle? I'm just asking.
That's what I was about to say. Can a trans man breastfeed a baby?
I think a trans man can have a menstrual cycle if they don't, get specific surgeries. But I listening to that, I think where it gets sticky is that it starts to feel like a competition between cis women and trans women. And you have cisgender women saying, well, you haven't gone through what I've gone through in terms of periods or in terms of birthing a child, so you are not my equal. And when it gets to feel sticky, when it feels like, okay, well, are you my equal? And I think that's the problem. It feels like a competition, and it shouldn't be a competition. I mean, as the speaker said, being a cis woman is one thing, and being a trans woman is a completely different experience. And so I think those experiences need to be separated.
They're not equal. They're not equal.
They're not.
And why you say that, Maria?
Well, I mean, Gary has this comment that we saw on Jess Hilarious's section of that video, and I just thought it was a really profound point. Can you read that comment, Gary?
Real woman speaking up.
That was kind of mean, but anyway, this person wrote, now she said, honey, if you put 10 trans women and 10 biological men on an island, and in 100 years you'll come back and find the bones of 20 men.
Wait a minute.
You see what he's saying there? So
I'm confused. I don't even know what a cis woman. What is a cis woman?
So going back to that comment, a trans woman doesn't biologically have the body, the parts to reproduce.
And that's cold,
so if you put
but that's
those
real.
trans
That's
women
facts.
and those biological men on the same island,
That's
they can be
facts.
couples, they can play house, but they cannot create a community. Conversely, you put biological men and biological women on an island, you come back and you have a community. Yes, it was probably harsh, but it's
facts.
It's the truth. I mean, it just is what it is. Outside of hurting somebody's feelings, it is what it is.
Stop being so touchy-feely with your fucking feelings.
Who the fuck is gonna stand up for us? Who the fuck stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane?
And what was the comment you were about
she took jabs on that,
Maria? We were talking during the break.
Well, yeah, we were talking about the difference definition-wise between female and woman, right? And so I looked online. The word woman can be used generally to mean any female human or specifically to mean an adult female human
as contrasted with a girl. But they said the word originally meant young person of either sex. And it was only around the beginning of the 16th century that it came to mean specifically, female. And then when you think about female, that denotes sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs. But if you go even deeper to that, does that mean that a woman who can't have kids isn't a woman, a female who can't have children?
Being infertile,
so many
but being
layers.
infertile doesn't make a woman not a woman. That's just a condition. That
But I'm just saying, by this definition, it says denotes the sex that can bear offspring.
That's a medical. But that's
eggs.
a medical.
Well, I think
condition.
every woman can, but some women are become infertile through other causes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If they're infertile, they can't produce an offspring.
I still don't know what a cis woman is. What is that?
Going back to the cis woman.
A cis woman is a person whose gender identity aligns with the sex they were assigned at birth.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You learn something every day. So the question is, how far is too far when it comes to accepting, qualifying these definitions of what isn't a woman in regard to the whole transgender issue? Do we have calls, Dave? All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning.
My name is Aaliyah. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. And to a certain extent, but it's a fact is a fact. And he could have been a little bit more tactful in what he said.
You can be called what you want to be called, but everybody's forgetting one thing. They're saying God made a mistake if you profess yourself to be a woman. God didn't make no mistakes, so why would you say something like that?
Well, I mean, personally, I just say a woman is a woman. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. Transgenders, they were not born a woman, so they can't really relate.
I'm confused myself. I'm trying to identify as a white male when I get pulled over by the police.
I 100%. Enough is enough. We've taken enough. We've complied, called people whatever they want to be called. But when you start attacking natural women and saying that we're gatekeeping womanhood, we didn't ask for this. We were born this way. We have to go through things that people don't imagine, and to just put on and say whatever you want to say because you feel that you're a certain way, that doesn't take away from us being natural women. And I'm tired of people trying to attack her.
Right, and
they're not gonna cancel Jess.
Yeah, that's. Thank y'all for your
Jess.
phone calls. If you couldn't get through, y'all hit us up at RickySmileyMorningShow.com. I mean, somebody, a chick can call up and say, hey, she identified as a giraffe, but that don't mean she's a giraffe unless you go to her house and she out there with some box braids on and her neck long and she eating out of a tree. More Ricky Smiley Morning Show coming up.
This nigga's clouded. Yeah, man, but I think that it's about time. I stand with Jess on some real shit, man. The fact is the facts. Look, now I don't have no problem with nobody. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with nobody. You can be whatever you want to be. You can feel however you want to feel. You can dress up however you want to dress up, man. That's your prerogative. However you want to live your life is how you choose, man. You know what I mean? Or woman, or they, them, she, it, and whatever. You know what I mean? But, the thing is, what Jess said was all facts. With the women that were speaking up and saying and talking, that was all facts too. And I enjoyed hearing from them and speaking and seeing this side of a lot of times what we go through now. People are seeing what men go through when they just jump on somebody and just attack them for whatever. They just accuse them of doing this, accuse them of being that. Now they kind of seeing this community, man, is super, super sensitive, and they have a lot of feelings involved in a lot of stuff, and unfortunately they themselves have become the gatekeepers, and they are gaslighting natural women, trying to say that they're being gatekeepers. No, You can't just knock a door down and say, this is my house. You don't fucking live here no more. You don't matter. It's my shit. Like, that's basically what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that the natural women is stepping up and saying, yo, not here. We ain't doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't going. Enough is enough. Like, so I'm kind of glad this conversation is coming to the forefront, man, because, you know, how many times do we see a male when he speaks his mind about, you know, the transgender or any of the letter, you know, the letter community, when he speaks their mind about it being a natural male, that he get attacked and jumped on and crucified and counseled. Now you see they're turning on you guys. You used to have they back, but now they turning on y'all. Now how it feel. So anyway, moving on. They said you gonna see this ad, nigga. It's alright. I don't mind watching her, but we ain't gonna watch that. But y'all feel what I'm saying, though, man. Y'all put that shit in the comments. I know y'all got a lot of shit to say about that. Like, I know y'all do. Y'all got to, cause it's on my mind too. The same way it's on y'all. It's like, man, I'm glad they seeing how it feel.
Teenager was beaten by customers
now, what is this shit about?
Over a restaurant table. A restaurant table. Put up the picture, full mass.
Tennessee teen. Damn!
A Memphis teenager was beaten until unconscious.
Memphis?
By a family of patrons at a Cheddar's kitchen over having to wait for their preferred table seating. That's according to his mother. They also stole his Apple Watch after beating him unconscious. The teen, who would like to remain anonymous, and we're going to respect that, said it was an hour-long wait. He had no choice but to separate the group. The girl in the green said she don't like the table, so she'd rather get a bigger table. So I said it was still going to be a few minutes, so they left, the teen told Fox 13 News. However, the group came back and demanded a larger table to accommodate them again. The Cheddar's host said a man in the group confronted him and punched him in the face. His whole family started coming toward me, jumping me. And after that, it was when I blacked out. Don't remember nothing, the teen said. The teen's mother, Letitia Ford, captured the aftermath of the brutal beating in a cell phone photo and shared it with local media. It shows the skinny teenager sprawled out on the ground, passed out with medical equipment attached to him as paramedics worked to revive him off camera. He had a concussion. His face was swollen, and he had a lot of bruises on him. He is really sore. They busted his neck really bad. The people who attacked the teenager were twice his size, okay? And let's put up the picture. They were twice his size and have yet to be caught. Letitia Ford is calling out the business for their lack of protection for her son. Police say the people responsible for initiating the altercation were observed departing the restaurant in a white SUV. Ford and her son hope the attackers are caught. The mother is particularly hopeful that they were captured on the restaurant surveillance cameras. She also believes Cheddar should have taken additional measures to ensure her son's safety and protect him from such an incident. You got to think about how extreme this is. A family decides to leave a restaurant because their preferred table is not available at that time. It will be available, just not at that moment. They leave. And instead of going to, let's just say, another restaurant or home, they decide to come back with exacting revenge against a child. Could have killed him. Now that family is on the run. If anyone has any information about that attack, you are encouraged to contact law enforcement immediately. This is obviously a dangerous family. This is obviously a dangerous group. They need to be held accountable. Justice needs to be applied. Let's also talk about the reality of the mother's statement about Cheddars should have had more, well, safeguards. If there's any violence on the premises of a restaurant, if there's any type of aggression that's known to the owner of a facility, that facility owner typically will need to take appropriate measures to make sure people are safe. And if they do not, there's a doctrine in law called premises liability.
That's it.
And premises liability basically means you decided not to secure the individuals, to protect them, create appropriate safeguards to ensure their safety.
And those are your employees.
We will follow this story, such a sad, sad reality, and we hope for speedy recovery to this young teenager. Jackson, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, they literally could have taken this young man's life. And that's one thing that people always got to really consider when it comes to just violence in general. Defending yourself is one thing, but, you know, it's really always best to just not strike out in anger because you really never know how things can go down. I know people who are in prison because they just got into some random fight and, you know, they got hit just right or they hit the person just right and lost their life. So, you know, you really got to be careful with stuff like that. But I think you made a really good point just about general liabilities that the restaurant is definitely open for in terms of not taking action to, you know, really not let the family back onto the premises or something else that could have been done to just kind of manage the situation. Because you want to make sure that whatever establishment you're in, people are comfortable and that, you know, chaos can't go awry. But yeah, I mean, this family, I mean, a loser family, you know what I mean? Like this is like you pointed out, a very dangerous family. And sooner or later, they're likely to get caught up in something if this is how they go about their life. Because you just can't go around putting your hands on people. Because I mean, the way he looked like he lost his life. They really messed him up. That was sad to see. So definitely hope they catch them soon.
Yeah, they did your boy. They did little dude bad, man. That's fucked up, man. What is you niggas on, man? What's wrong with you motherfuckers, man? Y'all niggas is wild, man. I ain't even got too much to say other than these motherfuckers. Like, I hope they got family members that can handle that shit and catch these niggas, honestly. Like, I ain't really no law enforcement type of motherfucker. Like, I don't really, I think they need to be done just the same way he got done. Everybody in that family need to be laid out like Young Dog was laid out. Because that's fucked up how they did him like that. It's not his... These motherfuckers actually put hands on this kid because other people were eating in the restaurant. Like, that's the facts. That's what it boils down to. He don't make the fucking seating chart. He just let you know when the shit is available, when the shit's open, then you and your raggedy ass family with y'all motherfucking fat asses can go sit down and eat and stuff y'all faces with your dumb asses. It ain't even his fucking fault. He has no control over that shit. He got beat up and damn near lost his life for some shit he ain't got no control over. If I was that nigga, I would sue the fuck out of Cheddars. That shit'd be called Cheddars, whatever my motherfucking name is. Nigga, whatever the fuck. I'll sue the fuck out that bitch. Cause they liable for that shit. They responsible. I don't know how many motherfucking restaurants I done been to where I done seen, not necessarily security, but you're not finna just walk up and just be socking on nobody. You know what I'm saying? They got one or two big ass managers that's gonna come up and, you know what I'm saying, stop the shit with like, where's the management? Or did it happen that quick and then the management just sat back and watched? Like they got the chance to beat the dog shit out this young man. Cheddars, man, y'all motherfuckers po as hell, man. Y'all sorry as fuck. And that family, y'all sorry as fuck too, man. Fuck y'all niggas. Y'all gonna get what's coming to you, because karma a motherfucker, man.
Triggering calls to the wave troubleshooters alleging patient dumping by local hospitals.
Check this shit out.
Two different $2 million plus patient dumping jury verdicts recently in Kentucky caught our eye. But what really got our attention was where calls to our newsroom led us when we began following up on the complaints. This story begins December 1st at 5 p.m. with a phone call to our newsroom from a horrified University Hospital employee claiming security had just wheeled a woman all the way out to the corner of Hancock and Ali, just off hospital property, dumped the elderly woman out of the wheelchair on the sidewalk, and left. Minutes later, we shot video of her, still in a soiled hospital gown and slippers, breathing hard under a blanket placed over her in 36-degree weather, her stuff in a bag next to her. The employee claimed she sees this a lot. So I started watching, and on December 16th at 7 p.m., 35 degrees outside, I record 3 security guards surrounding an elderly woman with a walker, slowly escorting her out of the emergency room. She can't move fast. It takes several minutes to make it all the way to the same corner of Hancock and Ali. After they have her across the street, off the hospital property, the security guards turn around and go back. When they clear, I catch up to her, and she says she can't breathe.
They told me that I couldn't stay on the premises.
Were you in there as a patient?
Well, I needed to be a patient because I'm sick.
What's wrong with you?
I've got COPD. I got diabetes.
So they wouldn't even treat you?
The doctor talked to me for 1 minute.
And they told you what?
That I had to leave.
What reason did he give you?
He didn't give me a reason.
She tells me she's homeless.
I've got to go because I'm hurting. I'm in pain.
I was in a car crash, and it completely shattered my hip and pelvis. Right here, I got like 30-something screws.
Matthew Hauber and his mother claim a similar story. They met us in front of Wayside Mission in the spot where they say he was dumped in October.
Anywhere. And they said, well, we can't find a rehab right now.
Linda Hauber said when Norton Hospital told her they had a room lined up for Matthew at Wayside, she checked it out.
I called Wayside Christian Mission and just to confirm, and they said no. They said we can't do that. We can't. You know, they have beds and they help them find jobs and stuff, but we don't take medically needy people. We don't do that. And
then she says she had a conference call with the hospital staff.
the social worker said, we're going to take him to a shelter. And I said, which one? And they said, Wayside Christian Mission. And I said, well, I know that's not true because I called them and they don't take him. And then the lady said, the social worker said, well, that's history. Let's think of something else.
Hauber says the next day, her son was unloaded from a transport vehicle on the curb in the rain on Jackson Street in front of Wayside.
That bitch swole up.
They've dumped my garbage. I have to put out to the curb. That's how they dumped my son, like garbage.
Linda Hauber said she was in no shape to care for him at home. And she died after this interview.
They put all their stuff on the sidewalk over there. They dump them off over here on the sidewalk and get back in that vehicle and get out here just as fast as they can.
Wayside staffer Perry Lane helped Matthew out of the rain and says he witnesses the same kind of thing dozens of times per year from hospitals as far away as eastern Kentucky. He says they're often lied to about the medical treatment they'll receive at the shelter.
What's the worst physical shape you've seen somebody in who was dumped? This guy here was pretty bad.
Paralyzed. People that can't walk. That are totally relied on a wheelchair. Take them out, put them in the wheelchair, throw all their stuff on the and take off.
Wayside's Chief Operating Officer Nina Mosley tells me it's not uncommon. She says they're not trained medically, and sometimes they take patients right back to the hospitals.
How can you dump people? These are human beings. How can you just dump them and leave them? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's unhuman, man.
We detailed these incidents with dates and times to both Norton and University hospitals. Norton Healthcare Senior Vice President Renee Murphy responded in an email that says, in order to safeguard the privacy of patients and in compliance with HIPAA, we are not permitted to discuss specifics regarding a patient's case. There are several details to this case that may not have been communicated to you by the family. As Mr. Hauber has not signed a HIPAA release of information form, we will not be able to share those details with you. University Hospital Public Relations Director David MacArthur replied, they appear to be working on behalf of U of L Hospital. Unfortunately, the images that were provided by WAVE do not reveal enough information to track down additional details or identify whether the individuals on either day sought care from any of our team. What is heartbreaking for U of L Health staff is that we often encounter situations where patients need assistance beyond medical care. As the community's safety net hospital, the challenges are particularly even more acute when providing health care to the unhoused population of Metro Louisville. Community resources are limited, and even when they are available, many individuals that may benefit from those resources still refuse assistance. The Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, known as EMTALA, was passed in 1986 as a federal anti-dumping law. It mandates patients who present to a hospital emergency department must undergo an appropriate medical screening examination by a physician to determine whether they have an emergency medical condition. If they do, they must be stabilized and treated, and an appropriate transfer may take place to another facility with adequate capabilities.
Juries take the hospital's obligations to treat emergency patients very, very seriously.
Attorney Hans Poppy knows that firsthand. He won a $2.3 million patient dumping verdict, most of that in punitive damages, after his client, who was coming to a Lexington hospital by ambulance with a cardiac emergency, was turned away and directed to another hospital.
Juries don't like to punish hospitals.
There aren't many verdicts in Kentucky history favoring plaintiffs in alleged patient dumping cases, but this one is interesting. A $1.5 million verdict awarded in Fayette County to a difficult patient with a history of ER visits, dumped by a hospital, rolled outside in a wheelchair with taxi fare, and hours later, the man was dead of an untreated ulcer. After being reversed on appeal, another jury socked the hospital for $1.45 million.
But what that tells us is if a jury hears a case and they believe that there has been an EMTALA violation where a patient has been dumped or abandoned by the hospital, they really get upset.
Dude, like, I'm worthless, man. We're throwaway. We're garbage, you know?
Now, I was contacted this week by a police officer who worked off-duty at University Hospital who says she emailed U of L Health CEO Tom Miller on March 1st about this issue and what she was witnessing, and she says she was then informed she would no longer be working there. I asked U of L about that. They say the officer was concerned about the same things they are, and they're collaborating to increase community resources for the at-risk populations. As for being let go after her email, U of L would only say that she was employed by a third-party security service.
That's
YouTube is the new home of NFL Sunday.
Shit. That's bullshit. That's funny as hell. And that's how they get y'all with them temp services and all them fucking the temp. That's how they get y'all with them temp services and the fucking I guess what you call third parties. That shit corny as fuck. They fired her because she spoke up about that shit. Now, this topic right here, man. This topic right here is kind of near and dear to me because, like my grandma. Anybody who know me really know me deep down. Yeah, like for real, and y'all know, like my grandma stayed with me almost up until the day she passed, you know what I'm saying, and I had to take her to the hospital. But like, and what I will say, and I'm gonna just be honest, I'm gonna just be frank, like what I will say is she was with me and my family and my wife and kids, because I mean, of course we all from here. I was in California at the time, and nobody else wanted to take her, so nobody else wanted her to stay, you know, with them or whatever. And I mean, I did, like, you know, that's how I get down for my family. So like, that shit struck a nerve with me that they sitting there dumping motherfuckers. Like, cause I wish a motherfucker would dump me or my peoples or somebody like that, and we fucking need medical care. Like I'm doing everything. I'm wasting every dollar I have to sue your bitch ass. Like, just like they saying, man, that's against the law. They signed a whole act about that shit, man. You can't dump motherfuckers. And what they doing is they dumping them because they homeless and they like, fuck them. So, man. So, this shit nuts as hell, man. Anyway, I ain't gonna speak too long about that, man. Just protect y'all loved ones, man. Protect y'all OGs, man. We need them. You know what I mean?
A zoo in eastern China is getting a lot of attention because of a video and a single burning question. Is this sun bear, named Angela, really a bear? Or is that a human in disguise? Look closer. The straight posture, that saggy skin. Is she waving?
Hello! It's quite a unique behaviour to sun bears. Not a lot of other bears stand on their back legs as often.
And few bears have clawed their way to internet fame quite like Angela, who went viral when a video showing her odd stance was posted to Chinese social media. The viral video has forced zoo officials to bear all with a tongue-in-cheek statement on Angela's behalf. Some people thought the way I stand up looks too human, the statement said. So I will stress again, I'm a sun bear. We asked the zoo's deputy director about all the talk of fakes.
所以真的不是假的。
Bitch, you don't know no motherfucking what's
I
the name.
promise it's real, he said. Seeing is believing. People can come and see for themselves.
You Chinese.
Experts explain that Malaysian sun bears, with their orange or creamy-colored chest fur, are much smaller and slimmer than, say, a grizzly, and have huge claws for climbing. As for the baggy pants...
The extra skin's a really important adaptation for sun bears, so it's actually to avoid predators.
Attendance at the zoo has jumped by 30%, thanks to people scrambling to catch a glimpse of Angela and bear witness to all the hype.
It's the slouchy skin that has people doubting that Angela is the real deal. On that, the zoo's deputy director told me that we have to bear in mind, that sun bears walk on all fours. So when they stand up, their skin will naturally gather and look a bit like wrinkled pants. And having exhausted my bear pun savannah, I send it back to you.
Well done. Well done, Janice. Thank you.
I don't know if that's going to resolve the debate, though.
What do you think?
I still think you're going to have folks who
Y'all
believe
funny
it's
for
probably-
this.
You know what? Google, which I just did during the piece, sun bears, and there are images of them standing up.
Yeah.
I agree
like
with
that.
you
They
guys.
look like
And
they
then
look like humans.
When she goes down on all fours, she looks
Yes.
more berry.
It's
yes.
the
But
wave.
what about the wave?
The wave
is not
good. The wave is good.
good.
The wave is
The wave.
good. She's happy. And by the way, maybe she's a rapper bear. You know, just wears her pants down a little lower. There's just a rapper
Man,
bear.
bitch, get off my motherfucking
Hey,
shit.
thanks for watching. Don't miss
Nigga, get off my motherfucking shit, cuz. Anyway, we gonna end this shit with this saggy fucking skin ass nigga. He got the nerve to talk about some. Maybe we should have said this a you goddamn bear. Your saggy ass skin, motherfucker. Corny as hell. Boy, motherfuckers be corny. Uncle Tom like a motherfucker. Man, this nigga, man, get this nigga out of here, man. This nigga look like a sun bear, nigga. Ugly ass nigga. Anyway, man, it's your boy, man, PG the Hustler, man. Thanks for stopping through, man, sliding through, man, and chopping it with your boy for a little bit, man. Crazy shit going on, man, out here, man. Y'all don't worry about them motherfucking aliens, man. Y'all been knew it was aliens. I don't know. I done heard a lot of crazy shit, conspiracies about that shit. That shit funny. I just refuse to go that far into talking about that kind of shit. Them aliens, man, that's just already brought. If y'all need to see my motherfucking statement on that shit, me talking shit about them goddamn aliens, man. Catch last week's episode. I talked about that shit last week. About the whole summit. The shit that motherfuckers talk about now, I talked about that shit last week with the whole press conference and all that shit, man. How I felt about that shit. Anyway, man, much love, man. Y'all, man, don't forget to check out blackmoneymedia.live. You know what I'm saying? Check out some shit. We got some merch. I got some new merch getting ready to come up out of there. As soon as I get this stuff together for in my own lane, man, that'll be out. I'm gonna drop the collection, man, and you already know it's coming. Check me out, PG the Hustler, on all DSPs, man. And y'all already know. Tell somebody you love them, man. Spread that shit, man. So, peace, man. Y'all have a good one.